Hey everybody, this is John the Other, and the following is a reading of an article just published on Community Organized Compassion and Kindness on Monday, February 16th, written by Natasha Douglas, and called Them Bitches Be Shady. And I will read the article along with the publisher's note, which I wrote myself. Rather than welcoming a new contributor at Community Organized Compassion and Kindness, I'd like to welcome back a friend. Natasha Douglas is a writer, videographer, and a powerful voice in her own right. After a brief hiatus, she has chosen to use Kak as her platform for a few timely observations. The article begins as follows. Very early in my time learning about men's rights issues, I came across what turned out to be a common complaint. I have seen this dozens of times since then. It is voiced in different words each time, but in its most basic terms, men were complaining that female men's rights activists are given too much recognition for speaking about men's issues. It confused me that men would actually complain about a woman voicing her support of men's issues and having people listen to her. It seemed absurd. If a blonde German citizen stood up to speak for the rights of Jewish people in Nazi Germany, did Jews throw their bagels at her? When a white American stood up for the civil rights of blacks, did black people throw their grape drink in her face? If an Israeli speaks up for Palestinians, do Palestinians start flinging their couscous? No, of course not. Why then is it so common to see men in the men's rights movement complaining about the same thing? I was baffled by the phenomena. How could so many men take issue with women who are just trying to help? How backwards and crazy is that? Well, call me backwards and crazy, but now, 2 years onwards, I agree with those complaints. My first logical error was the assumption that the efforts of female MRAs are equal to the efforts of other activists. Surely the simple act of speaking against one's own advantages is noble in itself. But that is not the case. Both historically and currently, anyone taking part in a civil rights struggle knowingly risks social ruin at best and death at worst. This is not so for female MRAs. Personally, I've lost a few friends, and some people just don't discuss politics with me anymore, but I have suffered no repercussions beyond that. I don't feel it is necessary for me to avoid discussing men's rights, even with complete strangers, and I do it fearlessly. No one is going to harm me. People aren't going to start hauling their children to the other side of the street when I approach. Only one person in 2 years has even attempted to harm me for speaking about men's issues, and she was violent and unstable long before that conversation occurred. I can say with confidence that nothing I have said has put me at risk. In comparison, men addressing their own issues face a significant array of dangers. The fact that many men who discuss their issues take measures to protect their identities is revealing. They are not fighting for fame. These men are knowingly assuming risks in order to make things better. Those speaking publicly expose themselves to social censure, to blacklisting, to harassment, and to fabricated criminal accusations. And in the face of such attack, they persist in speaking. That is what gives their message weight. However, the recognition given to a woman who merely repeats the same messages rivals and even trumps the attention given to men. She need not worry her pretty little head over adding even a single original thought to the conversation. Anyone who receives excessive praise, voicing a philosophy they don't even fully understand, risks believing their own hype. The unearned praise that female MRAs operate within has some behavioral consequences. Namely, they become vapid, self-indulgent cunts. Women who arrive at fame by repeating the words of others quickly learn that if they blurt out ideas contrary to the philosophy they have been preaching, men will be eager to come to their rescue. They don't even have to defend themselves. This requires no sinister intent or purposeful infiltration. When intention is added to this process, it is a technique known as mirroring. This covers a range of behaviors from the imitation of motions to obtaining verbal or mental agreement from the target. When you start agreeing with someone, you subconsciously want to keep agreeing with them, even when an idea is introduced which would have been rejected otherwise. This method of influencing others discourages disagreement, which would disrupt the harmony. It's human nature to be agreeable when you believe you are among friends. Men within the men's movement are not immune to this effect, and this is the exact dynamic that makes men unknowing slaves to women and other fraudsters. In addition to these problems, female MRAs cheerfully accept unearned glorification and influence offered to them. They make no effort to redirect the recognition to the men they've borrowed from. They coast on the work of men who have assumed all the risks. Does this mean you should automatically mistrust all female support for men's issues? The short answer is yes. The long answer is also yes. If you start from suspicion, you are more likely to notice when you encounter a mimic. If you maintain your suspicion, you will notice when a conflicting idea is introduced, and you will be less likely to accept it without question. Pay attention to which issues she voices most. There are some men's issues that segue neatly to traditional conservative ideals. Male reproductive rights is one of them. You can give men the right to quit parental responsibilities, and this will offer protection from oops fatherhood for single men. It will do very little for married men whose rejection of fatherhood equates to a rejection of marriage, and will likely result in threats of child support and alimony, and sometimes jail. Does she walk the walk, or does she just repeat the talk? If your female MRA, or not all women are like that woman, has a husband, does she trade sexual favors for material gain, like a prostitute? Does she turn discussion from men's issues to conversation about herself? When she is under fire, can she defend herself, or does she need you to ride in and rescue her? I know you want women to be your equals. In fact, you want this so badly that you're willing to overlook evidence that they are faking it. The question to ask yourself is not if her opinion is interesting because she's a woman, but whether it would be as interesting if she were a man. This has been a reading of Them Bitches Be Shady, published yesterday on Community Organized Compassion and Kindness, and written by new contributor Natasha Douglas, who also has a YouTube channel listed in the low bar with the username NerdyD. Thanks for listening, and have a great day.